Hey yo, whoop whoop! It's your boy Killer J coming here with a quick intro. So my worst of 2024 list was pre-recorded, and as I was doing my downloading and the ripping of the video, I noticed that I was missing as a visual in this video. But I just want to give you a quick warning. You still hear me pretty well with the presentation, just like last week, where you see the films and be able to follow along. I just want to give you a quick heads up on that. And, I'm learning. Things are new here. But let's get to it. Let's get to the list. And I will talk to you next week. Whoop, whoop. Hey, yo, what's up? Whoop, whoop. It's your boy, Killer J, the necromancer of film. And welcome to Whoops Up, Whoops Down, the movie, film, discussion, podcast, or whatever the fuck I feel like it today. So last week we discussed my best films. So this week we're going to discuss some of those films that quite didn't make the list. Uh, honorable mentions, um, dumb fun, my worst films. Just kind of the emptying out the rest of the 22 films that I watched and kind of my final thoughts on them. We'll go through it like last week, by slides, and then if my honorable mentions get nominated for an Oscar, then long form, the other films are not getting nominated. But you never know; it'd be surprising. All right, so here we go. So close to being great. Now these films right here are films that I were really good. They just didn't make my list for maybe for one or a few reasons. The first film I'm going to discuss right here is Piece by Piece. It's the biopic by Pharrell Williams, told through Legos. And I'll tell you what, that's what got me to see the movie is the Lego portion of the Pharrell story and the way that Pharrell used Legos to describe how he sees music, I think really works. My only issue is it's still a biopic, so it's very formulaic. So you kind of can see, where things are going. But I would still say it's an interesting watch. The next film is The Apprentice. This is the film that Donald Trump did not want you to see. He tried to get this film from being released for a while now. It has Sebastian Stan playing as Donald Trump and Jeremy Strong playing as Donald Trump's mentor during the 1970s till the 80s where Trump became Trump. I think it's a very interesting film that relies more on performances, meaning that the story is very lacking because it's told through decades, and it's really more about the friendship between these two men through the decades. So you gotta have to stick with their kind of how you feel about them during certain time periods. But I would say maybe worth a watch. The next film right here that quite didn't make my list, Wicked. Oh, it's a great musical. The music is phenomenal. The performances are pretty good. Costuming, like everything you want in a musical, this movie delivers. Except it's a part one, so it means I watched a 2.5 hours of an incomplete film. There's characters introduced that don't go anywhere. I mean, you're kind of left on an intermission, so it's kind of like I can't really put it in my top 10 because it wasn't a complete film. And maybe if they released part one and part two together and it was just called Wicked, maybe it would have made my list. Because, I watched Avatar 2. I'm not afraid to sit in a movie theater for hours and hours and hours. All right, so next up, we have Dumb, a good dumb time. Like these are films that are trash. Their aim is to entertain. They're not pushing boundaries when it comes to film or film language, but they're films that you can sit down and just turn your brain off. So the first film I'm going to talk right now is Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. First of all, I'm a big Godzilla fan. I've been watching him since I was a kid. I mean, the Shonen days, Hashinin days, like, the era, sorry. And this kind of Godzilla, like, is that Shonen era where, Godzilla's fighting a new monster and it's like in the rubber suits and stuff like that. Like, if I can enjoy the rubber suit thing, I'm gonna enjoy this because it really gives me on and delivers on monster fights. And like I don't care about the humans. Give me the monster. So yeah, I knew I was gonna like this film, and it didn't disappoint, and I can't wait to see what they do next. So the next film is Twisters. I actually like Twister. I know it's not great. There's certain aspects of Twister that I think are, okay, decent or worth a watch. Twister is the only reason why I would say like you should watch this, and adds to the good dumb time is the performance of Glenn Powell. Like he is, as soon as he steps on the screen, you can't take your eyes off him. He is electric. He is funny. I mean, he is really what I think drives the movie, and I think he's the new it guy. Like, you know how Chris Pratt was the it guy for a while? This is the new guy. And Twister showed that he could be the guy. All right, so the next film, Sonic 3. I actually really enjoy the Sonic films, more for the Jim Carrey performances, more than like anything else, because I think the second film made me realize that these films don't aim to be super serious. Like they intentionally aim for kids. They purposely aim for silliness because it's how that's the Sonic character is. So they're really good at doing that and keeping it consistency. And I think actually they're finding their formula a little better, because I feel like this third film is actually better than the first two films. I think each time they keep bringing a good film, and having two Jim Carreys as your villains. Yeah, so yeah, I actually had a great time with Sonic. It's still dumb, and certain things don't make sense, but you're too busy having too much fun to even notice. So now these two films, I would say, were disappointments. Films that I had high expectations that just didn't meet them. The first one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I did a marathon of the Planet of the Apes films from Fox, and getting super psyched and seeing the story of Caesar, and seeing where they would pick up. And um, this film is like a sort of a new trilogy or a new saga if they do it. Um, and because there's a lot of setup that doesn't really go anywhere, especially the ending. Like I think the third act for me falls apart, and really made me not love it, but liked it. Like the visuals are still there, the mocap is dope. Like that's the reason to see it, is like these are mocap performances and they're really good. It's just the story's not good. The story's not good, and it's like over 2 hours, and the story's not good, bro. Come on. And my problem with Furiosa, the Mad Max saga, is it's too long. And maybe this Furiosa maybe suffer from high expectations that I put upon it that wasn't fair. I thought that maybe that George Miller could hit that Fury Road again, like that level. Except that he clearly did not want to do what he did not want to experience what he experienced from Fury Road, and relied more heavily on CGI. And in some places it's very noticeable, and it took me out of it. But Anya Taylor-Joy is like, anytime I'm seeing her on a film, I'm like, she's good. She does a performance, and I think it does the character justice. I think if I revisit the film and I watch it with Mad Max Fury Road, I think I will enjoy this film better. Not better, but more, because I'm letting it to be its own thing and not putting in high expectations. And because, I mean, it really fleshes out that world that Mad Max invades, that we're just trying to figure out, where Furious is able to flesh it out more. And I think George Miller really enjoyed that. And the brother's 7 years old, and I should never put the expectation that he was going to give me another Fury Road. There's 50-year-old directors that wouldn't put out the work that he does. So this one suffers from high expectations that it wasn't met. These are films right here, worthless sequels that I just don't feel like they are worth your time. Despicable Me 4, I don't know what to say about it. It just like it aims really low, relies heavily on the minions, and there's just no story. It just wackiness. It just I don't waste your time. I would say like just watch the first one and you'd be fine. I don't think by the time you get to the fourth film, I'm like, what are you doing except for taking my money? And Beetlejuice is to cash in on nostalgia. And this is a I'm just getting tired of it. I mean, I was okay with Star Wars and Halloween, and it's just becoming more repetitive, where these studios looking for IPs that they're dusting up, and They're like, oh, we haven't, this film is 30 plus years old. Let's make a new one. I mean, like the new Ghostbusters are not hitting, bro. And this one just never gave me a reason to care about it. And there's like, because it's so focused on, like, remember the first film, remember the first film, remember the first film, remember the first film. It just doesn't really want to, it's not interested in telling you a new story. It's interested in telling you the same story in just different ways. There is a concept in this film that I thought that would go to that they never revisit, and the character that introduces the new concept goes nowhere. So this film, you don't need to see it. There's nothing here for you here. If you're looking for anything that will capture that Beetlejuice magic, just watch the first Beetlejuice. I mean, that's what you're gonna get. Okay, so Joker 2. Want to talk about, sequels that never gave me a reason to exist. This was the point of this film, is that this director did not want to make a sequel, but the studio gave him a shit ton of money to make the sequel. So this man made the most worthless, uninteresting sequel of all time. And really, and actually was a referendum of his first film. Like it's him making the least satisfying sequel of all time. And because this is what the Joker would really be like if, what happened in this first film, this is like him, right? What would happen to him from his actions from the first one, and it's not glamorous. And now he pictures this glamorous world. Like, look, I understand. It's 2 hours long of a film that did not care to exist. It didn't care. So I'm not caring. And I'm telling everybody, like, don't waste your time. You're gonna be disappointed. If you like that first film, don't watch this one because this film does not like the first film. It doesn't. And the worst film of them all is Madam Web. But film is so bad that it's comically good. It's just ridiculous that this character, another character that that relies so much on Spider-Man, that Sony's like, but we'll make it anyways. And oh my God, Johnson is horrible in this movie. And the film doesn't want to say Peter Parker, so they find every way around not saying Peter Parker. It's just a mess of a movie that doesn't know what this character is, and there's so many quotable lines. So many quotable lines. So Madam Web is a movie you just get stoned to, drinks a couple beers to, and just laugh at it. Because holy shit, it is fun to laugh at. So yeah, that is, my list of 2024. You got the best and you got the rest. I saw that's 22 films. I gave you a quick recap to crush down 2024, and now we can start focusing on 2025. Kind of. We're still going to be revisiting 2024, but kind of going through why, the Oscar would pick certain movies and trying to, break down the difference. I guess my goal is through this Oscar series that we're going to is to break down the difference between a movie and a film to me. So, because that is to really follow what the channel is trying to do. I'm going to tell you the difference between a movie and a film. Okay. So that's that is the excitement of what the journey is I'm going to teach you the two different definitions that you need to understand while watching this channel. So that's it. That's my time. Uh, okay, like, share, subscribe, tell your homies that want to talk about films because it's what I want to do, and we're just still getting started. So this channel will only grow because of you and your support. But I'm your boy Killer J, signing out. Whoop whoop, much clown, motherfucking love.